So it's a great pleasure today to have Jennie Lindon, the author of What It Means to Be Two. Jennie's going to give us some insights into our 2-year-olds to help us with play, parenting and all the challenges that we face as parents and perhaps even grandparents with raising our 2-year-olds. Okay, so could you just provide us a bit of an insight, Jennie, into what we can expect from our typical 2-year-olds?
No, I think nice entry point, Al, because there's common themes across, but yes, everybody's 2-year-old is different.
Yeah.
But I think one of the thing about that age group, that move from being a sort of just gradually through to when they're beginning to wave at their 3rd birthday, is that they are so competent in lots of ways. In the most likely thing is the words have started coming, recognisable words, even little phrases. They're going to be mobile, they will be walking, they will be clambering. And yet the striking thing about the 2-year-olds is, I think, partly because they are so amazingly busy physically, busy thinking, is that it is very usual that they go very quickly from being absolutely fine to always just being too much.
Yeah.
Yes, it's been described sometimes as sort of an emotional seesaw.
Yeah.
That they can be very happy and then suddenly something happens, or I guess they've just tipped that tiredness bit, or something happens which they don't know how to handle, and then suddenly it can be they're on the floor, or they're cross, or they're crying, or they've just sort of gone like that.
Yeah.
And maybe the really big thing for an adult who's involved, mainly parents, but also people who work with your children in nurseries or playgroups, is that we tune into 2-year-old timing. Otherwise we can think, what's the matter? You were fine 5 minutes ago. Well, that was 5 minutes ago.
Yeah.
They do get just very tired sometimes.
Yeah, so is it mainly that's what the tantrums are?
Well, I think so. I mean, again, they haven't got the words to tell us, but sometimes I think it is. So as I say, the words have come, but even the older 2s, the nearly 3s, if they hit a tricky situation, like they're having trouble with their brother and sister, they run out of words. And when they've used what words they've got, which in some cases might be go away or don't bother me, and their brother or sister has not gone by this, perhaps because they really, really want to be with them, then they haven't got much left in their bag of possibilities. And I think that is when sometimes as a parent you hear the raised voices and although they've been playing together fine for quite a while, you've got to get there because you're going to need to be the diplomat who's going to have to sort this out. But it does happen quite quickly.
Yes, it's more of a frustration.
I think it is. I think that is the word. They're frustrated. They do sometimes also physically get very cross because they can't manage to do something. Some children get crosser than others. It matters more that they can't make this toy work, or there's this shape will go in their posting box and the other one won't. So it's not unusual.
Something certainly for me when my children have been 2 is that I've found them a tremendous desire. We mentioned about being helpful for 1-year-old, but it seems to come like a natural desire to be as helpful as possibly can when they become 2 and get involved and actually do things. And I think there seems to be quite a lot of expectation that children don't actually begin to do that until they're about 3 or 4.
I'm with you. If you give them the opportunities, definitely you see it with the 2s. And there is every reason to actually welcome their help. Obviously, as a careful adult, you keep them safe. But within an ordinary home, there is a huge amount they can do to help.
Can you give some examples?
Well, for instance, very mundane things for adults. Children actually they like helping you sort out clean washing. They actually do like, finding whose sock is whose, trying to put them together. Now, if with our adult thinking, we kind of take a mental step back. Actually, this is really good. It's really, really, really early mathematical thinking, because you're finding 2 of the same and you're putting them in a pair. They do like, and you can usually find something for them to do simply, in helping with preparation of food. I also started doing very simple cooking with my children by the time they were 2.
Yeah.
You can find some very simple recipes. I wouldn't at that age let them up to the stove, but
No,
you
there's
know, won't
actually
be
some
like,
really useful things
do
that they
stuff
can
on the
use
kitchen
yeah.
table, mixing. Again, if you think about cooking, they're learning so much about mixing and measuring.
Yeah, the motor skills. I
Absolutely,
guess, and that as well,
yes.
isn't
No,
there? Yeah.
really. It's led, if you like, that they want to be helpful. They like to do what we're doing. They like the grown-up stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm always very sad if people think, yes, either they're too young, which they're not,
Yeah.
or no, it's quicker if I do it.
Yeah.
Well, then you will never bring them on board, and you've lost those opportunities.
That's it. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
they quite like doing brushing up. Yes. I mean, as long as you've got a small dustpan and brush, I would say this is one of these things you don't necessarily have to go out and buy a toy one.
Yeah.
If they can manage it, you wouldn't give them cleaning products.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
nice clean J-cloth. They're good at wiping
Lovely.
tables. And again, big thank you. Big
Yeah.
thank you for doing it. Yes.
No, that's great. So that leads on really to being helpful really
Yeah.
is to how we can play with our 2-year-olds to get some really good interaction and a lot of fun together.
Yes, because I think there's a lot about being a happy part of just what keeps a home ticking over, but you're right. There's also all the enjoyment in what looks more like play.
Yeah.
So if you think about that, I think certainly the 2s, and some of this you will have started with them when they're a little bit younger, but the 2s, they really are ready for enjoyable activities with lots more fun. So I'm a huge fan of Play-Doh. You can buy dough, but you can, actually make your own. Yes.
And we did making Play-Doh when he was a
Excellent, there you go. Yes, I'm absolutely with that.
Yeah.
So basically, yes, so a good store of Play-Doh, which will usually, especially if you put salt in it, it will keep in the fridge in a plastic bag. Simple little cutters and things. The 2s have begun to pretend. So I would say definitely, if there isn't already a very simple dressing up box, because there's an older child, think about a little basket of hats, simple stuff, hats, little bags.
Oh, they
little
enjoy bags, certainly putting things in bags.
Things in bags.
Yeah.
Stretches of material can be almost anything they want them to be. If they are particularly keen on something like being a policeman, then you might get a police officer's hat. But I think this is a theme of mine. Don't go spending lots of money on things that you can gather yourself. They will pretend. So if I think they're about things it's worth spending money on, the 2s, because they are beginning to pretend, if they show an interest, then it is a nice, either a sort of doll's house or a farm set, or maybe a garage. Not everything, but they are ready for having that kind of sort of little building with some little figures.
Yeah, I think so.
The young 2s will still put things in their mouths, so be careful. But
jigsaw puzzles, I think, are quite good as
I
well,
would say
aren't they?
definitely. Yes, no, you can get really simple ones, and again, very nice. You start them with the simple ones. Some children are more enthused than others. Simple things for building. Again, good basic bricks, ideally wooden, enough of them so they can build. But also, just have this. Children nowadays, they live in a world where there's matters of technology, but they're not born. You're saying, bring me my iPod. They love cardboard boxes. Simple things. It's not unusual that shoe shops plead with you to take the shoe boxes away. Yes, always take them. Shoe boxes are lovely. If you stand it up with the back, it can become a little theatre. With younger children, they put things in, take things out.
They love to store
stuff
in there.
Yes.
Don't they?
If you have a store of crayons, markers, sometimes they will like to decorate it. So I think the other thing is, yes, the 2s definitely with thicker crayons or the thicker brushes are definitely ready for the drawing, the painting. Just think about where you do it. I had a big PVC tablecloth,
Yeah.
which I put over my kitchen table.
Yeah, they can be very messy.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
and that's where it all happened.
Yeah.
Play-Doh as well, and they understood if they wanted to paint, if it wasn't in the garden, they got the tablecloth out, which was in a lower cupboard, and then that was fine. Then we didn't just paint anywhere.
Yeah.
It's your home.
That's it, yeah.
It's your home. Yeah.
And it's about respecting their environment as well.
Absolutely.
Isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's great, Jenny. So the last thing then is on our 2-year-olds is about we often don't have a 2-year-old in isolation of siblings again. And one thing, especially with my 2-year-old, is that you've mentioned about imaginative play and starting to get in they start to have an interest in getting involved in serious play, I guess, getting really, in there. The older children often think, no, go away, you don't know what you're doing, you're not old enough to come and play with us. Yes. So I just wondered if you could give us some insights into managing sort of that sibling.
Tricky. I think you're trying to walk a gentle line between accepting a situation where the young one is always told go away, which I think is not okay, and the other extreme of us as grown-ups always saying you've got to let him join you. Sometimes it is a case of just having a chat with the older ones and saying, well, he would love to play with you. Can you, if you're playing pirates or Peter Pan, something, can you just let them be a pirate, or can you just give her a role,
a simple
role, and she will be very happy to be with you. And certainly I've seen lots of 2s and very young 3s who are happily that way, actually quite like being ordered about, and are very pleased to take the roles in this that nobody else wants. I think, again, as a parent, it's about listening for that tone of voice in your older children that lets you know, actually, no, they've played with the young one for quite a while, and they're about reaching the end of what they can manage. And then, as a parent, they're really coming in and offering something else to the younger one. I think, once you've got more than one child, you are there, and it is a real challenge of trying to be as even-handed as possible, so each of the age of your children gets some time with you. And one other thing I think it's worthwhile watching out for is things you can do with them, activities that they will all enjoy, which, if you like, cross the age range. One thing that really strikes me is enjoying a story, enjoying a book with them. So one of the things, it's really nice to start books with children very young, way before they can read and long before they understand all the words. But if you've got more than one child, then it's not at all unusual that they can pick some books off of those shelf that you have, and you can have some that people would look at and think, oh yes, that is more a baby or a toddler book, but your older child will still love this and love to have it. And certainly I've known young children, really young children, when you're snuggled up with them, will happily sit for quite a long story, which is more, if you like, a 3 or 4 year old length. So that whole sense that although books and toys often, understandably, they are marketed for a particular age, sometimes it does cross over. I've noticed, I think, that certainly mine have taken an interest from about 2.5 actually in the stories side of things. And also thinking about books, because books are just so important, and obviously you don't have to go and buy all of them. I mean, you go to the local library, who would give you loads each time with children. Is that right from a young age, children become interested in, what we as adults would call non-fiction, books about things. So very often you're looking at a book with children and they'll want to look again and again at the illustrations, and sometimes you're talking very simply, that they want a book about spiders or they want a book about volcanoes, so you're talking about it. And some very good picture story books, there is no text to read, so you end up telling their special story to the pictures. So there's a wide range of books, and children really, you're giving them a really, really good start to help this love of books. That's great, Jenny. Okay, something as well as just to mention from my experiences with my older little boy Alex, who's 7, and he likes to get involved in actually starting to read to the others now as well. So that's really that's
helpful.
Lovely for him to be so pleased that he can.
That's great. So Jenny, thank you very much for your insights into our 2-year-olds, and I hope you found that That's very helpful.
It's with the kids. Hooray!